Vision.
Having a vision or a dream is great.
It gives us something to aspire to.
I envision myself teaching English to speakers of other languages across the world.
I dream of attending The Ohio State University and one day owning my own business. Having a vision or a dream is great.
But that alone isn't good enough.
Joel Barker says,
Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time.
vision with action can change the world.
The 4 inductees to the Sydney City Schools Hall of Honor this year didn't just have the vision.
They took the actions necessary to change that vision into a reality.
It is with great pleasure that we present this year's inductees to the Sydney City Schools Hall of Honor.
Congratulations.
It is one of those wow moments. There's a lot of things going through your mind, like, should I be doing this? I wonder what it's like. We call that the moment of regret. The people are looking straight ahead. They want to be scared. They've been craving that moment. But as soon as you get over that crest, it looks like the track disappears. And that's the moment when you start to go into free fall. And they just scream all the way down the hill. Do you remember when we tucked under the bridge? When you're up at 180 feet looking down at it, that's the moment where you think, am I going to make it through that?
Rob Decker graduated from Sydney High School in 1978 and has had quite an impact on the amusement park industry.
We had Julia Lamb Stadium at the time, which I played football, and I thought I had a lot of fond memories of doing that under the lights, the town getting excited on Friday nights and rallying behind the teams. I wouldn't trade it in for anything in the world.
Decker continued his education at the University of Cincinnati and then went on to work as an architect and urban designer. Theme park design wasn't really on his radar until a friend suggested it.
A good friend said, hey, you should think about theme park design, and I have a friend who's working on that. I don't know what a theme park designer really does. So when I met with the person, he said, look, it's kind of like city planning, city design, and architecture put together. And so that was appealing to me, and I said, okay, I'll try it. And that was 27 years ago.
Rob started as a consultant for Universal Studios, Six Flags, and other parks for 11 years. Decker then took a job with Cedar Fair, where he has been for the last 16 years. One of his most famous designs is the Gatekeeper, a roller coaster at Cedar Point in Northwest Ohio.
I just blurted out in the meeting, I always wanted to put a roller coaster over the front gate, and now it looked at me like I was crazy. And the crazy idea made it through, and the whole team rallied around the cause. So we will work with the best engineers in the world, and that's probably a team of 30 to 40 engineers on a project. It's about that same kind of workforce that's actually building the ride. And then on site, it's probably more like 100 to 150. So I guess if you want to round up, it's right around 300 people that have to work together to pull this off.
Rob still works for Cedar Fair, where his current title is Senior Vice President of Planning and Design. Rob has settled in the Sandusky area. He has been a part of his community by volunteering his time at Perkins High School. He and his wife, Michelle, are the parents of 3 children.
I have 2 adult kids in college and one living in the Netherlands. My wife is very tolerable of me and my schedule and very supportive. It's such an honor when you look at people from Sydney who have accomplished so much. I just feel so fortunate to have the opportunities that I've had.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 2016 inductee to the Hall of Honor, Mr. Rob Decker. Marjorie Blake graduated from Sydney High School in 1954 and married classmate Tom Dunavant 2 years later.
We met in high school and went together all through high school. Went to the freshman, sophomore parties, the junior, senior prom. Got married a couple years after school and lived here the rest of our lives.
When her daughter started kindergarten, she began a 40-year stint in helping with Sydney City Schools.
When my kids entered school, I just got involved as a room mother and then got involved in the PTO and to help raise money for the schools.
Marjorie effected great and positive change as a member of the Sydney City Schools Board of Education from 1976 to 1986. She was also a member of the JVS Board of Education for 8 years.
I actually enjoyed my time on both boards, particularly when you had enough money to do things. The bad time was when there was not enough money.
While she was on the boards of education, Marge worked alongside many people who helped start Clear Creek Farms. This led to an 18-year stint in helping with the organization.
We started that as a home for children, called them social orphans. A lot of them had parents, but they were not being raised correctly or had no home life to speak of.
As a result of her hard work and dedication, Dunavant received a Southwest Regional recognition in 1985. The late Roger McGee said, "Marge had a very positive impact on the school system and unselfishly gave of her time and talent." Along with working for the school district, Marjorie was also heavily involved by volunteering her time with the Charity League Toy Hospital, First United Methodist Church, and St. Paul's United Church of Christ. Marge and Tom Dunavant reside in Sydney and they have 4 children.
The family, everything. Mostly what I did was for the family, or maybe you can say for somebody else's family. Well, it's a great honor. Having been in when we started it and knowing the people, know most of the people that are in there, that, you know, it is a great honor, and I'm very pleased.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 2016 inductee to the Hall of Honor, Mrs. Marjorie Dunavant.
Cathy Lindsay graduated from Sydney High School in 1967. She began a lifetime of service to the community her senior year when she organized a walk to raise money for St. Jude's Hospital.
At the time I was president of White Teens, which would have been kind of the equivalent of Key Club that they have now. Listened to the radio, either WNE or WING that we all listened to back then, and they were talking about getting people to do walks in Dayton. And I thought, that's something we could maybe do here.
In 1980, Cathy became the first director of New Choices. New Choices helped to provide shelter, support, and advocacy to victims of domestic violence.
Funding is always a problem, and just the topic, domestic violence. A lot of people don't understand domestic violence. It's a very serious subject in our country and in other countries.
Beyond New Choices, Cathy spent 3 years at the Shelby County Juvenile Court by starting the court-appointed Special Advocate Guardian Ad Litem program to help children in abuse and neglect cases. She was also the initial director of the Shelby County Victim Services. Along with all of Cathy's programs she has helped to create, she also holds adjunct faculty status at Edison State Community College and advises programs in human services and criminal justice. She also volunteers her time at her church, United Way, and helping the homeless.
I just do what I do. You know, if something comes up, my first thought is, oh, I can help with that, or I can do that. I don't know why. I know I came from 2 very loving parents who always gave of themselves, and maybe that was how it happened. I don't know. It's just, I just do what I do.
Cathy continued a call to service even in her personal life when she adopted a teenage daughter named Brianna.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I was out here Saturday and saw the Shrek the musical, and while I was standing in the lobby, I got the chance to look at all of the pictures and read what they did, and I was even more in awe than I was when I first was nominated and got the call that I was selected. It's amazing. Sydney High School and Sydney City Schools have been a big part of my life, and to think that I've done something that makes them want to include me in that is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 2016 inductee to the Hall of Honor, Cathy Lindsay. Charles Ryan, also known as Chuck or Charlie, graduated from Sydney in 1961. Charles pursued both coaching and teaching, which eventually helped steer him toward administration and ultimately led to his induction today to the Sydney City Schools Hall of Honor. Mr. Ryan enjoys basketball and he was a member of the team at Sydney High School. One of his fondest memories from that time includes a 34-33 road upset against Fairmont. Mr. Ryan went on to continue his basketball career at Wittenberg University where he studied education.
It was pretty simple. I wanted to be a basketball coach. That was the love of my life when I was young. Teaching and coaching just was the first step.
Out of college, his first teaching job was at Westmont High School in Hollinsburg, Ohio, where he wore many hats that extended beyond the classroom. Those responsibilities included coaching multiple teams and running the athletic department. Charles' next stop was at Miami East, where he served as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. After Miami East, Mr. Ryan began his journey in higher administration. He was named principal for what ended up being a 14-year stint at Piqua City Schools.
But it was neat when we got the Science Olympiad started in Piqua, still going on. Wilder Junior High was honored as a Hall of Fame school, which was pretty special. And then moving to Anna, the whole technology thing, being involved with Microsoft.
Charles furthered his career by joining Anna Local Schools as their superintendent from 1991 to 1997. He also specialized heavily in technological advancements that included working with Microsoft on a national level.
This is the Nintendo generation and the Sega generation, and they almost expect to be able to manipulate software and to be able to use a computer. And
Step one in the whole process was my wife. She exposed me to technology early. She's a former tech coordinator, and I began to see that in the early 90s, this had a special place in education.
Since 1998, Charles has worked as a consultant with Fanning Howey Architects and Engineers. He was often the facilitator that helped get the communities and districts on the same page.
Really the neatest part was seeing kids enter the building and be so excited about new facilities and new technology, and that was really one of the real highlights for me.
Along with everything else, Mr. Ryan also found time to be a huge part of Compassionate Care. Charlie also ran for Miami County Commissioner and State Representative, where he was endorsed by John Glenn. Charles and his wife Ann reside near Sydney and have 2 children.
My wife's a saint. She's the one that got me started in technology. She's the one that introduced Young Life. I got 2 great kids. One is out in Boulder, Colorado, and another one in Columbus. And 5 years ago, I had no grandkids, and now I have 5, so I'm very thankful. Number one, I'm humbled. When you look along the wall that's out there, the people that are in here, just Sydney's had some folks that have made some real significant contributions locally on a bigger picture. So I'm humbled and very thankful for the folks who helped me get here. Like I said, I was surrounded with some great folks to work with and some great volunteers to work with.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 2016 inductee to the Hall of Honor, Mr. Charles Ryan.
Different paths, different lives, but one thing the same.
Sydney City Schools help to build your name.
You're inspiring, active, helpful, and creative.
We're all so proud to call you a Sydney native.
A word for each member we'd like to share.
First is Cathy Lindsay, and her word is care.
So many victims, you've been their voices.
Through many organizations, just like New Choices.
Rob Decker, we give you the word innovate.
Your creations are many and all of them great.
Cedar Point, Six Flags, and many others.
Have your imprint on them one way or another.
Charles Ryan, for your status and all that you've done.
We think the word leadership should be the one.
Anna, Miami East, and even that city south 8 miles.
Have all seen your influence and the result of your smiles.
For you, Marge Donovan, service comes to mind.
Because of your willingness and you're so very kind.
School boards, hospitals, and the JVS.
You helped them all with great success.
The four of you refocus us.
as we continue to live.
We will try to follow your path.
And constantly give.
Think of the things you've done.
The odds you've defied.
You've added your legacy.
To the Yellow Jacket pride.
As we look to the future and reflect on the past.
Your accomplishments are many. Your reach is vast. You are part of a prestigious group. What a great scene.
The Hall of Honor total is now 119.
Charles, Marjorie, Cathy, and Rob. You're an inspiration and you've done a great job. It's well deserved, and with no further ado, Hall of Honor inductees, we salute you.
Woo!